I'm Sophie D'Souza and welcome to my channel Sophie's Stained Glass. Lots of architectural glass videos. Enjoy. If you have subscribed to me, I thank you very much, and if this is your first time, welcome. I have just made a series of videos about designing with a program called Affinity Designer, and it's just how I work. It's probably not the best way to design because I've kind of found my way through it, and I've used, to learn the program, I've used the tutorials that Affinity produce, which are really excellent, much better than the video tutorials I found for other programs. So I would suggest having a look at what I do with Affinity, how I find it useful, and then also going and learning the basics, if you can bear to, because I know it's hard, by using the Affinity tutorials that you'll find links to on their website. So the first video tutorial is a very basic drawing by hand using Affinity, and they have a vector mode and a pixel mode, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. Then there's a design. The next video is a design I draw up using the kind of straight line and squares sort of tools, and how to import things into your design. And then there's another video where I start to colour in a design I did earlier. So I hope that you can find something in them that's useful. Don't forget that there's a settings button on your YouTube where you can either slow down or speed up videos. And I find it quite useful to slow down videos where there's a lot of information to process, like click here, select this, select that. So slow it down, that might help. Likewise, sometimes videos are much better speeded up. So yeah, don't forget that function. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe. I will just open a new let's do the same thing, an A3, and create. Now it has defaulted to the vector, or designer persona it calls it. Let's start by drawing a rectangle. Now I can tell it what style of line I want, so I'm going to give it a 12mm line, and I'm going to change the corners to points, and I'm going to make sure it's got no fill, because at the moment the fill is actually white. I'm going to give it no fill. Okay, now I want to make sure it's the size I need it to be. So let's make it 405 by 280. So that measures the correct size now. But, and this is a big but, it measures the correct size from the middle point of the line. Now there is a way to make it change to the outside part of the line, but I can't remember how to do that. Okay, let's close this. Don't save. Right. So we're going to open a new drawing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize it, and I'm going to make it, let's pretend my window is 665 by 421. Okay, and then you do create, and there it is. That is the size I want my window to finish. Now what we do is we draw a rectangle, quite roughly at first, and at the moment it doesn't have an outline. It's just a white rectangle. So we're going to tap on the line. We're going to make that 12mm, and we're going to make it have pointy corners, not rounded corners. Okay, now I'm going to view, zoom, 100%. Now up I go. That is probably a little bit too much of a tolerance, so let's just bring it up to that. As in, I don't want it to be that much smaller than my making size. About like that. It all depends on whether you've done the opening size or your making size with how far you come in with this outside lead line. So there it is. There is your outside leg. Now I'm using the command button and the minus key to scroll in and out. So that's how you start, as you know. Now I'm going to draw another rectangle. Let's select, deselect, because we don't want it to be selected. And we'll draw another rectangle. So you go to the rectangle. You start there and it will find... Oh, hang on. Did that wrong. Edit. I'm going to do a new layer because I'm going to want to turn off this lead line in a minute. So I'm going to draw another rectangle that will, it automatically finds the points underneath, but I'm going to change that stroke to 2mm. There we are. I've turned off. See, that's with the 12mm turned on. Oh no, it isn't. Hang on, let me see it. Ah, I've accidentally got a fill colour of white. Let's get rid of that. That's better. So I'm going to turn off the 12mm. Now the reason I draw in a 12mm line and then I draw in a 2mm line is because I now know that that 2mm line, which is the heart, is exactly the right width from the outside of the panel. So that's my cut line. And now I'm going to start drawing a regular kind of stained glass design. So let's start with the border. So we will select our square. It wants to snap to the edge of the drawing. So let's start it. I'll tell you what, we won't worry, we'll just resize it. Now I'm just going to draw that. Now how do I know what size that is? Well, I look down here to the transform box. Now I know that about the right size for a border is 25mm or 1 inch. So I'm going to put 25 in here. Press enter. Now it's quite a big window, so there you go, that gives me the correct proportions. But I need to lower it. So we'll go to select and we'll just move this until we've got it in the place we want it. Right, now when you aren't getting the fine control you need, what that means is you've got to scroll in, because the further in you go, the more control you get. So I'm going to just have that there. And like that. And I'll go to the other end. And I'll just shrink that in till it matches. Now I'm going to copy this. Let's go out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to copy this by selecting it. And then I'm going to do a shortcut, which is Command J. Now I can move that. You can see it's a copy of the other one because the other one's still there. I'm going to pop it into place at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to do another Command J. And I'm going to move it up. and I'm going to rotate it. Ooh, rotated it too far. Press the shift and it will lock it at the 45-degree mark. Oh, that was a fail because it actually didn't. Never mind, we'll just draw that in again. Or shall we just edit and do? So I'll just show you another way of copying. So you can go Command C, that's copied it, and Command V, that pastes it. So there it is. Now I'm going to turn it, there we go, 90 degrees by pressing down the shift button as I go. And then I'm going to put it in place. Of course it's way too long because this was a copy of horizontal. So up I go. Ooh, it's way too long. Let's make it smaller and then I'll be able to see it. There we go. Like that. Now this one, oh, is not in the right place. Don't know how that happened. Okay. Go back in and move it to where you want it. We're going to bring this down to here. Now I like my corners to go this way and that. So I'm going to move this over to here. Now I'm going to select this one, Control Copy, Control Paste. Make it smaller. And that goes there. So I'm going to just highlight this and bring it to here. So there we go, we've got a border. As you know, if you try and make a border from one piece of glass, it will snap. So we have to subdivide this. Now we can draw lines, but I'm going to draw another box. And the reason I'm going to draw another box is because it will mean I can colour it in differently. If I only draw lines across, then I have to have everything the same shade. So this is the way I choose to do it. So there we go. It's coming along. I like to do it randomly. There we go. Now you can colour these as you go along. So you would go to fill and you would, let's say we're having a blue border. Or should we have a red border? Let's have a red border. There we go, it's coloured in red. Then we could go to this one and we could, where's the colour? So let's go to View, Studio. Oh no, we just go to Fill. That's an easier way. Oh! Did I accidentally delete it? Okay. Fill. Let's do it a slightly darker red. And we can keep going round. Fill. Red. Now this one is behind the other one. So when we go and select this one and go to Fill, you'll see that it all the way along this horizontal, it fills in. So there we go. We've got it all beginning to fill in. Fill. Oh, I don't like that shade. Okay, and then fill. So you get the idea. I'll just do this last one. Fill. Red. Till you get a shade you like. No, it's too similar. Doesn't exist in stained glass. So I might use this slider to pick a better red. There we go. So you get the idea. Now we want to fill this with quarries. I will show you my approach to doing this. So what I actually do is I draw another box. and I use these. It will snap to point, you see. It's still got the red colour. I'll change that in a second. So there it is. I'm going to make this, see this? Gets rid of the fill. Now over here, this is the actual size of the box. And I want to fill it with sort of nice, nicely spaced quarries, which are the squares. So I'm going to write this down, 601 by 358, and then I'm going to use a calculator, having roughly worked out how many I think I want. So it's probably 1, 2, 4, maybe. Let's have a look at it real size, view, zoom, 100%. So you can see what it's like. So I think I've got my border sizes right. Let's just zoom out again. So let's see, 1, 2, so we want 4 horizontals, and we want probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe either 5 or 6 verticals. So what I do is I get my phone and I get my calculator. So 601 divided by 6 is actually, it's more or less 10 centimetres. So that's quite a good size. Now let's do 358 divided by 4 equals, and that's 89.5. So what I then do is I draw another square. I'll just draw it like that, and then I will change its dimensions here. I will make it 100 mil by 89.5. Now I can go Ctrl J and move it to here. So I've done Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Now I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to do Ctrl V again. And I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to do Ctrl V again. And Ctrl V. So we have our line of squares that fits very nicely. Okay? Let's just move that one over a bit. Yeah. Now we're going to select all of these. Thank you very much. Let's select all of these. When I say let's select all of these. So I'm tapping on them with the select arrow pressed and my shift button down. Now I am going to copy all of them with Ctrl C and paste all of them. And there it is. And then again. And then again. And there it is. I mean, you're going to take more time than me. Now what I can do is start filling them in. So let's fill this one. I'm going to have them all pale amber. Pale amber. And now this one. Let's have a slightly different shade of pale amber. And this one. Pale amber. Ooh, it's greeny. So you can see what you're doing there. You're just going through, filling them all up. I, as I said before, do like to use different shades. These are coming out a bit dark, so let's do them paler. So you get the idea. So you go through filling them all in, which I won't do now because it will take too long. but you get the notion. So now we've done that, we want to put a nice design here. And I'm going to show you how to select a design from the internet and transport it in. But it could be a design you've drawn by hand and scanned into your computer. No, I can't show you a design from the internet because I've got no Wi-Fi. I know what I could do. File, open. Let's see. Right, so this is a door I did before. Let's go into this. So if I press Command down, I can start, let's just use that. So we've got that, and we're going to do Control Copy, and then I'll go back to, is it Untitled? Yes. And I'll do Control Paste. And we're going to just put that where we want it. Let's put it here. There it is. So I drew this shape by drawing roughly what I wanted and then moving the handles around like I showed you before. Let's just draw a couple, hang on, no, let's edit, undo, transform. Right, let's do select, deselect, and let's draw a couple of leaves. I'm going to go in closer and I'll show you what I do. Well, first of all, this isn't in the middle because I can see that centre line. So let's make sure we've got it all selected. We've also got two there by mistake, so let's get rid of one. Select that, shift to select them both at the same time. There we are. Now then, we are going to draw a leaf. So we will go to the pen tool, and I'm going to go here. Let's just make sure they're all curves. Here, 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 here. There we go. So press escape because you've finished. Now we're going to colour that in with the nicer green. That will do. We've still got a 2mm line, and we're going to make sure they are all curves. That one doesn't look like a curve for some strange reason. Let's make sure that's a curve. Okay, so they're all curves. I'm going to just fiddle with this curve a little bit, make it a bit more pleasing. This needs to be a point, not a curve. And there we have it. Now then. Oh, wow. That looks too big, doesn't it? Well, that's okay, because we can shrink it. Let's shrink it in proportion by using the corner and the shift button. And we will just lower it and maybe shift button. Yeah, that'll do. Go back in closer. Here, I just need to change its shape a little. So I go to mode. I'm going to go to this handle. And I think what I'll do is I'll move this along, and then, no, that didn't work. I'm going to add an extra node. There we go. And this one, I'm just going to make sure it ends here. Now, that just needs smoothing out a bit. So if you stretch them, they smooth a bit. There we go. Now, I'm going to select this. I'm going to Control Copy, Control Paste, and then I use the selection arrow, which will highlight these, and I'm going to mirror it like that, which means, there, let's go out, there. So, I mean, okay, it's slightly odd as stained glass designs go, but I think you get the idea. Now, if you wanted to add another leaf at the bottom, Control copy, Control paste. I'm going to angle it. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to shrink it. Actually, let's edit, undo transform. Let's shrink it with the shift button on so it basically keeps the right shape. Control copy, Control paste, mirror, and we'll put another one there. That could do with angling. No, we'll just get rid of that, and we will make it a bit more angled. And we will copy it again and reflect it. Put that there, like that. And now we are going to draw a rectangle. Let's go a bit closer because this is going to be the stalk. And because I've already got green fill selected, it's filled it in green. And that tells me that it is 6.7 mil wide. Well, nobody can make anything that small, so let's make it 10. Let's make sure we've got it in the middle. And let's just, I don't want exactly the same shade of green, so let's just change the shade of green a bit. Okay. Obviously, you're going to need another line in there. So why don't we do that with the pen tool. Let's make it a bit closer. I get more like that, and we'll go to node and we'll make it curvy. Oh, let's press escape so it knows we've finished. Okay. And in fact, what I'll do is I'm going to get rid of this because now I'll hold the shift down. If I do those both together and then we'll select and then reflect. Come out. There you go. And maybe you want to draw an oval around it. So let's draw an oval around it. Okay. What we're going to do is draw it. Make it not filled with anything. Go a bit bigger. Select. Move it over. Maybe make it a bit bigger here and a bit bigger here. So you see the sort of thing you can do. Yeah. In fact, you could decide to select all these things. Let's go to layer and let's go to, let's select all these elements of this circular design. It's got a rectangle there, I don't know what that is. Okay. I think that's it, except we want to get rid of that. Now we can move the whole lot up a bit if we want to. I missed selecting that, but you get the idea. So that's the sort of thing you can do. That needs to go over a bit. See, what I ought to have done, which I normally do, is I save it as a black and white drawing, and I call it black and white drawing in the client's name. And then I start to colour it in, and I do client's name, colour 1, and then I do a different variety of colours, and client's name, colour 2. So I hope it's been interesting and useful to see how to draw a design on Affinity using the straight lines and the circles and the squares tools, how to set up the parameters of your drawing, all that kind of thing, how to change the size of your line. There are tutorials, like I mentioned, on the Affinity website, so I would urge you to take a look there. But thanks for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe.